We ran from the war and came to the forest to die. We came to the forest to die.
W naszych lasach, pod naszymi domami mają nie umierać ludzie.
On the edge of the Bruges border crossing between Belarus and Poland, this warehouse has been turned into a giant dormitory by the Belarus authorities. Hundreds of people stranded outside for weeks in makeshift camps after trying to cross the border into Poland were taken out of the cold. Living conditions remain dire.
It's very crowded, and also, for example, we don't have a bathroom. And also some people here you see right now, they are disagree about the quality of food because they saw some food was expired.
Some 2,000 people are crammed into this building. They have set up improvised bunks on storage shelves or on the floor of the warehouse. The number of families and children here is staggering.
La situation, c'est catastrophe. Il y a des enfants, ils sont tous malades. Ça fait un mois que j'ai pas pris le loup. Même le gros problème ici, qu'on n'a pas de plaque pour charger le portable.
Oui.
Donc, personnellement, ça fait une semaine que je n'ai pas parlé avec ma femme.
A lesser evil, they tell us, after what many have endured while trying to cross the border between Belarus and Poland. Some are still in shock.
When I talk to you now, I'm so scared.
Why are you scared?
Because this country played with us. Because the police took us through the jungles and hit us to fight for them. In front of the police, the Poland police. If you did not, they promised to kill us and hit us also. We don't have any right in our country and in this country. And we came here and we wanted to go to the Europe to have a better life. So we stuck in here. We don't know what to do.
Although the children are smiling and people are extremely friendly, the place is really overcrowded. You can see it's not a very healthy situation. The smell is not very healthy either, but all these people here are just waiting for Europe to give them a solution. Word spreads that demonstrations were allegedly repressed in Iraqi Kurdistan that day.
Our government is so bad. Right now in Kurdistan, they killed 12 people, teenagers, students. All the people are complaining about the government. They do not give money to people, they do not give anything to the people. And people in here wanting to go to Europe in order to escape from those people. They're ready to work and they want to die here, but not go back to there, because in there they will die immediately. Because in there, in the airport, they will catch people and they will kill them immediately.
Hundreds of Kurds from Iraq have already been repatriated. But most of those we spoke to said going back is not an option. Vian and her family come from Kirkuk in northern Iraq. The city is under regular attack by Daesh.
كتي أوروبا شي زرقات مالنا كاتو من بالنسبة خوم وعائلة وتما يترودو ما يترو سي ما يتروش بمين موي جوم لينيا يتبدأون الحكومة أوروبا بزانا متشي مع موقعات لو يكو ما نكردوتو همي ما نكرد إيرش كتي ربنا ودو بارلس فرودس بين وبتماشني ما مشينا كورسان اليرين مردن يان مان.
The region's governor visiting the site that day had a clear message for the media.
Решение данного гуманитарного кризиса зависит не от нас, а находится больше в политическом ключе, и решения должны принимать руководство Евросоюза для того, чтобы определиться, по каким критериям и кому будет предоставлена такая возможность попасть туда, куда они хотят. Если у кого-то есть желание, возможность вернуться, мы предоставляем эту возможность. Но большинство здесь высказывает желание идти вперед. Эту возможность, к сожалению, мы предоставить не можем. Надеемся, что позиции Евросоюза будут выработаны в ближайшее время, потому что люди действительно устали.
I asked him about claims that Minsk fabricated the crisis by luring in migrants and that Belarus soldiers forced them back to Poland after they were pushed back by Polish forces. His answer was cryptic.
В таких случаях, когда это высказывается, в нашем языке уже тоже не раз повторялась эта фраза «факты на стол». Но с моей точки зрения, наверное, не очень конструктивно разбирать, кто прав, кто виноват. В истории, в русском языке и в русской истории есть два основных вопроса. Это кто виноват и что делать. И, по-моему, сейчас основное время все-таки отвечать на второй вопрос, а не на первый.
On the other side of the border, in the Podlasie region of Poland, tension is high. Army and police vehicles are constantly on the move. Checkpoints are everywhere to prevent access to a 3-kilometer-wide exclusion zone set up at the border with Belarus. Only residents and security forces are let through. Journalists and humanitarian organizations are banned from the area.
The cynical game played by the Lukashenko regime. We shouldn't play based on their...
Polish activists who help migrants outside the exclusion zone denounce arbitrary pushbacks by Polish security forces. At a press conference organized in a forest close to the border, they called on the European Union to act.
But also let's be clear that this crisis is a result of really non-existing safe and accessible routes for people, for migrants seeking safety and shelter from violence, from discrimination, from conflicts. What Poland and Europeans should do is to support them to have access to the legal procedures, whether this is international protections, whether these are other forms of protection, or whether this is dignified return to their home countries.
The crisis also affects the local population.
But apart from the fact that we just can't agree to pushbacks and to letting people die on our grounds, it's also traumatizing deeply the local community, the community that has been acting amazingly. That those are the silent heroes here who have been helping here on the ground, the people that arrive here, and they are left alone without any support on the part of the Polish government.
Mothers at the border. This is the name of the association created by the women who organized this demonstration. They call for the government to open the exclusion zone to humanitarian organizations and to stop sending migrants back to Belarus, from where they're pushed back to Poland.
W polskim lesie umierają dzieci i my jako matki nie możemy się z tym pogodzić. Polska nie respektuje międzynarodowych praw, konwencji praw człowieka i dlatego właśnie chciałam apelować też do Straży Granicznej, żeby nie stosowała pushbacków w stosunku do matek i dzieci, ponieważ to jest działanie nieludzkie.
Oliver and Christian are volunteer paramedics. They came a long way to help the teams that are scouring the forest in the border area to rescue those trapped between the Polish and Belarusian security forces. They let me follow them to a place that must be kept secret to meet a group that's about to go on patrol. We have to conceal the identity of those who live in the area. They're afraid of being recognized by the border guards and by extreme right-wing groups who are also on the lookout.
Klikasz raz, jest czerwone.
Tak.
I jak ja powiem, to dopiero jest załączane. Na początku będzie bardzo ciemno, ale my chodzimy bez światła.
Okej.
Oczywiście w nocy niewiele widzimy, więc co prawda nie mamy takiego sprzętu jak wojsko i Straż Graniczna, ale próbujemy sprawdzać, czy są ludzie w lesie, czy nie.
Searches can be random.
Jest poszukiwana nawet jedna osoba. Z mojej perspektywy nie ma znaczenia, czy jest to jedna, czy to jest 100. Ja tak uważam, że to jest mój obowiązek, żeby wejść do tego lasu i sprawdzić, czy nie potrzebuje pomocy. W naszych lasach, pod naszymi domami mają nie umierać ludzie.
Patrols always take food and other supplies with them. So on our way we find one of the care packages that people leave in the forest. If they don't find any migrants, they leave some bags around on the trees or in places where people can find them. We will not meet migrants, but soldiers who interrogate us.
Tutaj w jakim celu przyjechaliście?
A spacerujemy sobie po lesie.
Tak, no wie pan jakaś sytuacja na granicy, no i musimy sprawdzić to też dla waszego bezpieczeństwa. Jakieś grupy podejrzanych widzieliście?
Nie, nie. Wszystko dobrze.
Są szczęśliwi.
Tak.
To be on the safe side, the group decides to stop the patrol and return to the base, determined to return soon.
Nasz rząd twierdzi, że jesteśmy państwem wierzącym, tak, katolickim i tak dalej, to się trzymajmy tego katolicyzmu, ale idźmy w dobrym kierunku, a nie w takim obsesyjnym, jak to były krzyżowe wyprawy i tak dalej, bo idziemy w obsesję w tym momencie. To, co robimy w Polsce, to jest typowa obsesja. Niedopuszczenie ludzi, niedopuszczenie innej wiary, niedopuszczenie innej karnacji, niedopuszczenie innej orientacji. Żyjemy we własnym tak naprawdę w takiej otowce, no nie?
A bubble that many in Poland want to preserve. In the city of Białystok, the capital of the Podlasie region, far-right demonstrators chose this church as a starting point for a march in tribute to the Polish border guards.
Granice naszego państwa muszą być bezpieczne. Nie mogą być nieprzekraczane w sposób nielegalny. No, po to są te granice, żeby gwarantowały bezpieczeństwo tym, którzy tu mieszkają.
Viva! Viva! Straż Graniczna! Viva! Viva!
So officially this demonstration is in support of the security forces protecting the Polish borders. But of course, the narrative goes beyond, including, anti-immigration rhetoric, anti-COVID vaccine, and anti-European rhetoric.
W elit zachodnioeuropejskich nie mieści się, że można skutecznie bronić swoich granic. W ich mniemaniu, w ich przekonaniu należy wpuszczać dziesiątki, setki tysięcy, a nawet miliony, jak zrobiła 5-6 lat temu Angela Merkel.
Jesteśmy z Euronews. Zgodziłaby się pani nam trochę Nie.
The demonstrators I try to interview refuse to talk, except for one.
Masowa migracja jak najbardziej nie, bo to zaburza tą tkankę społeczną i sprawia, że stajemy się krajem multikulti. Zawsze byliśmy gościnnym krajem i chcemy tych obcych przybyszów tutaj gościć, natomiast nie na zasadzie inwazji.
Not far from the city centre and out of sight, foreigners are waiting in this refugee centre in hope of a better life. Survivors of the forest are brought here almost every day. Some of them, like this man being taken to hospital, are deeply traumatized. I have an appointment with a Syrian Christian from the war-torn city of Homs. He arrived here 2 days before with his brother and a fellow refugee. They were rescued in the forest by activists and Polish border guards. They'd come to Belarus on a tourist visa and were helped to the border by smugglers who assured them an easy crossing. Instead, a nightmare awaited them.
The Belarus soldier, they cut the scene for us and let us go inside Poland.
They cut the fence.
Yes,
for you.
and the police catch us and take us back to Belarus. We spent in the forest around 15 days, 16 days. Go and come, go and come. The plane, Belarus push, Poland return. We can do nothing. We're going to die without food, without nothing. And we lost the way in the forest, and the weather is very cold, like we're freezing. Me and my brother, we lied under the tree, and I will die. Finish. We ran from the war and came to the forest to die. Thanks God, we reached safe, and we still in the life.
Not everyone was so lucky. At least 12 people died trying to cross the border. The Muslim community in the Tatar village of Bohoniki, close to the border, has decided to give a burial to all Muslim refugees who died while trying to cross from Belarus. Villagers also deliver food and basic supplies to refugee centers in the area and hot meals to security forces at the border.
Staramy się pomóc i dla tej strony, bo szkoda jest i imigrantów, i żołnierzy naszych. Wiadomo jest taka pogoda na dworzu, że jest zimno. No, będzie sytuacja krytyczna, będzie więcej zmarłych ludzi będzie. Tego obawiamy się najbardziej.
Allahu Akbar!
I attend the funeral of a refugee from Yemen who died of hypothermia in the Polish forest. The third burial of a refugee in a week in the village cemetery. A stillborn baby would follow 2 days later. Its mother died shortly afterwards.
Incydentalnie dla jednego uchodźcy raptownie się poszerza i zapełnia, a będzie jeszcze tych pogrzebów być może jeszcze więcej.
Tragedies that do not deter those who continue to travel to Belarus to try and reach Europe. Like this group that we caught on the streets of Minsk, the Belarusian capital, as they sneaked into one of the many improvised taxis that prosper from transporting migrants to the border. In this flat rented with several companions, Ali is regaining his strength. When we met him, he'd tried to cross the border 3 times. He was brought back to Belarus, in turn by Lithuanian, Dutch and Polish police forces, sometimes brutally. Still, he's determined to try again.
نحن في سوريا، نحن نعيش في منطقة وسطى، يعني صار فيها مشاكل من حرب من 2011 داعش وجبهة النصرة والنظام السوري. كلها على الأرض، البيوت مهدمة خالص، العالم خسرت أرواح، لأنه نحن في سوريا عندنا أطفال، عندنا نساء، يعني ما خارجين يعيشوا بسوريا نهائيا، لأنه لا في المدارس، ما في كهرباء، ما في مشافي، ما في تدفئة نهائيا. نحن عم نطمح للأفضل، نعيش بسلام بأمان أفضل من سوريا، يعني لأنه بسوريا ما انتهت.
Whatever the risk and whatever the cost, you will try again and again until you succeed.
ما عندي حل تاني غير اني بحاول اني اقدم شيء لاسرتي او عائلتي، مستقبل افضل من مستقبل سوريا.
Ali finally made the crossing. He was rescued in the forest by activists and has asked for asylum in Poland. When I finally took off from Minsk, I thought I'd never make my flight. There was a very large group of Iraqi Kurds at the airport who were being sent back to Iraq. And I couldn't resist trying to steal some pictures. And at the very last minute, the airport police spotted me and forced me to erase all the footage, or else they wouldn't let me go. So there are no pictures left, but still the very vivid memory of the words of one man who was extremely distressed and told me that he was forced to go back. He didn't want to go back to Iraq, where he said he was risking his life every day. At the time of our broadcast, Poland has started building a wall along its border with Belarus.